Welcome back. You're listening to the Maryam Mkwanda Show on Salam Media, and we are also live on Facebook. If you have any comments, queries, questions, or suggestions, you can send them to us on our WhatsApp line. That's 061 766 0355. Alternatively, you can leave your comments in the comment section below, and don't forget to also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Well, it is time for our hit list, and today joining me for the hit list is Sihle Tshabalala, who is the founder of Quirky 30, as well as the co-founder of Brothers for All. Hi, Sihle, thank you for joining me.
Good afternoon, and thanks for the invite.
It is a pleasure. Well, Quirky 30, tell us how it all began. When did this journey begin?
It's such a long story because what happened is that I was born and raised in one of the townships here in Langa, here in the Western Cape. And I started school at the age of 4. I finished high school at the age of 16. Had nothing to do, no aspirations to go to university. And when I was about to turn 19, that's when I got arrested and went to prison for 11 years. And my life in prison was one of the most profound experiences, because what usually happened is that when we are here outside, we have so much things that gets to cloud our judgment or that preoccupies them, and we ignore such a very sentimental value, which is time, giving time to our own selves. So prison provided me with time, to reflect on the life that I was living and start to build a life that I wanted to live moving forward. Even though that did not happen just overnight, because I started my own business in prison, because I realized that I'm an entrepreneur by being in prison. Even though that I was smuggling marijuana, which is dacha or cannabis, but it was a business because I had 4 prison officials who were on my payroll. For 4 years, I waited trial. I never ate prison food. I ate all the KFCs and the Nandos. I have everything figured out, from production to supply chain, products in market, and the business was booming. So everything changed for me when I got sentenced, and then I was transferred to one of the maximum security prison, also here in the Western Cape, called Brandvlei. Now in Brandvlei, they had a section called Afghanistan. It was a war zone. South Africa has 224 prisons. So if you are a troublemaker in all of these prisons, they send you to Brandvlei. It's kind of like a dumping site. So I was placed in Afghanistan because of the bad reputation that I left behind by being in Posmo. So I was one of those troublemakers, but a couple of months being in Afghanistan, I realized that, the kind of people that form part of this community possess such a very high level of IQ that any other human being can ever comprehend. And the reason why they behave the way that they behave is because no one has ever told them differently about themselves. No one has ever challenged their belief system. How the world perceive them, they make that their absolute truth. So I started a school being a maths and English teacher. I've never been to college or university, but I used to teach subjects that I also excelled in when I was still a student. So I used to teach mathematics and English. And one day a student of mine stood up and asked me a question that, Sihle, tell me, what is it that I can study now that will be relevant in 10 years when I'm released out of prison? And I couldn't give him an answer, but somehow he sparked curiosity in me. And unfortunately, I could not do anything about it in prison because I didn't have access to computers, internet, and also libraries. But when I was released, after 11 years of being absent in my own township, and to realize that nothing much has changed, that's when his words came back to me. That's when I started doing research in terms of what kind of skills that will be in demand in the future. And then that's when I found out about software development. Some other people refer to it as coding, some it's called computer science. But then now I could not see myself going to university to go and spend 3 years trying to obtain a BSc computer science degree. So I took the easy way out to teach myself how to code. So 6 weeks later, when I started now to write code, that's when my imagination was captured. That's when Quirky 30 was then born.
Mm-hmm. Wow, what an inspirational story you have there. Now, in an article, you said that correctional services can't say that they rehabilitated you, for you rehabilitated yourself. What do you think is wrong with the correctional services and the rehabilitation programs?
I think one of the things that I could always highlight as my number one point is that when we ushered the new democratic dispensation, we were too quick to change from prison to correction and still use the same main power that was driving the prison system to drive the new dawn and expected a different outcome, of which in this case it was a disaster, because what happened is that our prison system is not built for correctional system. It's a fact. That's why in South Africa, we have such a high rate of reoffending. Over 80% of offenders reoffend and go back to prison. UK, it's 40%. US, it's 50%. So our prison system are not conducive enough now to drive the new dawn, the new thinking, the new mindset, the new approach. And also, we still use the same main power, that was driving the prison system to drive the new dawn, and of which, for me, it does not make sense. We should take people back to school and educate them about the new system so that they can be able now to implement it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so true. I mean, it's pointless to be dumping prisoners at Afghanistan in a hopes that they are going to change, or in a hopes that something is going to happen to them in there. And I mean, they're not going to come out as better people. They're going to come out as being worse offenders than they were before, because obviously they're going to prisons, they're meeting other hard criminals who were there before them, and they want to also prove a point the next time they go back there to show that, hey, I can also become as bad as you are. And like you mentioned earlier, that you were living a good life in prison and having what is on your payroll. I mean, that's like,
Yeah,
wow. If prison is
you
that
know,
good, then I want to be in prison too.
that's one of the reasons why sometimes I always believed that we should apply the same methodology or the same mindset that is behind when it comes to HIV prevention. Prevention is better than cure. We should prevent kids from ever having to commit crime and get into the prison system, because once you wait, for them to do so, then you have a bigger problem, because what happened is that now you have to offer effective rehabilitation to the perpetrator and also offer therapeutic program to the victim. So let's rather intervene now. How do we do that? We do that by having to offer these kids opportunities that we never had, opportunities that will be able now to compete with the lure of crime, opportunities that are in demand in the 22nd century. And this is what Quirky 30 stands for. We want them to use our own experiences as a resource book for them, as some sort of a checkpoint, not for them to commit crime and think that they will go to prison and come out and be like Sihle, you know. So that's one of the reasons that inspires the kind of work that we do, because we believe so much that in prison we have the best entrepreneurs sitting there, and they just want to be wowed, and it's one of the reasons why sometimes I always tell people that if you're looking for best entrepreneurs, go source them in prison, because there's only three qualities that you need to possess if you want to become a successful entrepreneur. One, if you want to become a successful entrepreneur, you have to know how to hustle. And in prison, we have the best hustlers. Two, you must have the courage to take risks. And in prison, we have the best risk takers. Three, you must know how to network. And in prison, we have the best networkers. It's just that they choose the wrong product in life, which is crime. That's all. Now, imagine, if you can be able now to provide them an alternative in life, these people will come out and build future industries. In that way, you will be able now to reduce the high recidivism rate, which with a significant amount. So it's no use for you, keeping or taking people to prison and still give them the same skill sets, and think that when they are integrated back to society, they'll be productive citizens. No, everything today is about digital economy. Everything today is about digital economy. It's one of the reasons why I became the first in Africa to teach both male and female offenders coding. I became the second in the world when it comes to males, because there's a prison in the US, in San Francisco, called San Quentin. They had a program called The Last Mile. So they were the first to teach male offenders to code. So I became the second. But also, I'm the first in the world to teach female offenders to code. I'm even the first in the world to take internet inside prison. So we need innovative solutions to drive, the new dawn. We need innovation.
Definitely. And we are living in a world of artificial intelligence. So there is a lot more to go when it comes to technology. Sihle, do stay with us. We're going to take a quick break and we will be back.
Okay, awesome.
You are listening to Maryam Mkwanda live on Salam Media.
Spread the sunshine and make mealtimes sunshine delicious. Sunshine D, the versatile margarine and fat spread that is perfect for spreading, baking, and cooking. Need inspiration? Visit nowwecooking.co.za.
With over 80 years of experience, IG Hussein and Company are renowned for their quality Islamic wear and goods. IG Hussein and Company stock a variety of Islamic items, musallas, kitabs, Medina dates, perfumes and exclusive gifts. We guarantee you a unique and friendly shopping experience for the entire family. Visit our new branch in Overport at 202 Kenilworth Park, Brickfield Road. Open 7 days a week with ample parking and wheelchair friendly. Like us on Facebook or Instagram at IG Hussein for our latest promotions and updates. IG Hussein and Company, your Islamic lifestyle.
Never before has humanity faced a pandemic like the COVID-19 virus.
The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus outbreak as a global pandemic.
Penny Appeal believes in prevention being the cure, and we remain firm in standing by our commitment to support and help those in need.
The border have closed, are very, very affected. So
they are lacking in the supplies.
I hope government can find a solution.
Our response is to provide hardship grants to those experiencing a loss in income in the months to come, and hygiene kits for the vulnerable at home here in South Africa and Syria and Palestine. Show compassion in the midst of crisis. Donate to our coronavirus emergency appeal now. Be proactive. Be aware. Help save a life. Donate today. Call 031 11 00 573 or donate via www.pennyappeal.org.za. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Maryam Mkwanda show on Salam Media, and we are also live on Facebook. Thank you for joining me. All right, so still joining me on the line is Sihle Tshabalala for this week's hit list. Sihle, welcome back. Now, I'd like to know about the name Quirky 30. Where did that come from?
When I came out, I had this big idea that I wanted to pursue. Unfortunately, I don't come from a wealthy family. So there was a registered not-for-profit called Mothers for All. So I named the project Brothers for All under Mothers for All firstly, and then I ran the project for 2 years. But then now when everything started now to gain momentum, that's when now I wanted to be independent. And then I started looking at names on Google that will really define the work that we do, because what happened is that people always had misconceptions in terms of, what do we stand for? Even though that we were a tech academy, but naming ourselves Brothers for All didn't make sense, And also secondly, they thought that we were gender biased, is that the project is just only for men because it's named Brothers for All. And also lastly, they thought that we were one of those Christian groups, So I needed now to find a name that really defines the work, who we are, and the work that we do. So that's when I found out about the word quirky. So quirky, it's an English word that means unusual, which really defines the work that we do, because it's rare that you can find such an innovative and elite tech education project in a township. And then also 30 stands for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. So out of the 17 SDGs, we contribute to 8 SDGs in terms of the work that we do.
Wow, that's great. I thought that maybe your name came from a movie called Super 30, where this, it's actually a Bollywood movie I watched, and he's a mathematician, and he decided to take 30 poorest of poor students to teach them maths so that they can get an entrance exam, so they can write the entrance exam to a specific university. I mean, he had the engineers, he had aviators, he had whatever you can think of in the maths and science field. Those were the Super 30 students that he had and he taught, and it's actually based on a true story. So yeah, way to go for Quirky 30. Now since starting this organization, how many successful stories has Quirky 30 produced?
One of the boys that I would love to highlight was one of the students that I invited in when I started the organization. His name is Sbu. He now works for a global digital agency called Ogilvy. And, I'm so proud of him because as a high school dropout with only grade 11 in his name, he's managed to make a mark, proving that, not only we do find the challenges with our education system, but our education system lacks inspiration, inspiring the kids of today, So Sbu, was one of the first students that I invited in, and he's been working for Ogilvy for over 3 years now. Do you know what he did with his first salary? He built a third room for the family. Sbu come from a 2-room house with 9 siblings, all living in that 2-room house. And with his first salary, he built a 3rd room. And guess what happened? His younger siblings who are still, attending mainstream schooling have been part of our Counter Dodge for the past 2 years, showing that, that with, all the 144 kids that we've trained, last year and this year, we get to impact over 100 of other people indirectly through them. To date, since we started the organization, in 2014, we've trained over 412 kids. Our success rate in terms of placements, stands at 75%, because we don't only train kids for the sake of training. No, we measure the impact of our program not only on the number of them that we get to train, but also number of them that we get to place into jobs successfully. Because we want to show people that this is possible, because just where we are in the Western Cape alone, we have over 23,000 software vacancies available, but there's none. Every young kid in the township aspires to go to university. And when you ask them, what is it that you're going to study towards? It's always project management, HR, office management, business management. But they study towards skills that are not in demand. There are no jobs for the skills that they are studying towards. That's why you find that over 50%, of university graduates in South Africa are unemployed. You find, a youth, working as a cashier at Spar or Pick n Pay with a degree, in geology, with a degree in HR. So they are studying towards skills that are not in demand. Because the skills that are in demand today are IT skills, and not just any type of IT skills, coding skills.
Mhm. Well, I'm glad that you've brought up the issue of a lack of inspiration in schools because that's where it starts. I mean, the schools are only there for us to write exams. They encourage us to have a matric certificate. And once we have the matric certificate, where to from there? Many students just aspire to get a matric certificate and thereafter there's no hope. We try to go to university, we can't get bursaries. Even those who are who didn't do so well, who just passed, still can't go into college because it's the issue of money. It's the issue of you can't uh, get a specific certificate because of the level that you passed with the matric, which is unfortunately one of the reasons why we do have such a high unemployment rate. Now, we do have a game that we play here on the hit list. It's called Quick Fire. I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you need to answer them as quickly as you can. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. If you were the president, who would be your deputy?
Mark Zuckerberg.
All right. What would your top priority be as the president?
Employment.
What? If you do read, what book would you recommend?
The monk who sold his Ferrari.
Why? Everybody recommends that book.
Robin Sharma. Robin Sharma is the best.
Okay, what's your favorite quotation?
If you are looking for a miracle in life and you can't find one, be that miracle for other people.
Wow.
It's from an unknown author.
All right. And lastly, name 3 people or organizations that we should follow on social media.
Project Playground, the James Utando, and also Amy Bell Foundation.
All right. Thank you. You've answered all your 5 questions, and I must say that you did better than most of the guests on the hit list. Okay.
Thank you.
So what does the future hold for Sihle and Quirky 30?
The future for us is about taking our digital education to all parts of South Africa, and also this year, prior the COVID-19, we were establishing an incubation space, at our operation, because the idea for me, it's not about training kids and putting them into jobs. It's about inspiring these kids to start their own startups, because that's how we will be able now to create new businesses that will be able now to have such a huge impact in our employment crisis that we have in this country. So we need ideas, we need innovative solutions, and the best innovators are these people that we exclude them, because we are a country that believes that in order for you to strive and and be successful in this life, you need to have a certain academic experience or exposure. You need to be born in a certain community, have this certain background, and look at what that has done for us, because surely it's not working. The people that you are always ignorant and don't pay attention to are the people that will drive, the new inspiration for tomorrow. These are the people that are always neglected. That's why I target from high school dropouts, unemployed youth, ex-offenders, and teenage moms, because we can never ignore the fact that in black and colored townships in South Africa, we do have problems. One of the biggest problems currently is crystal meth, which is referred to as egg drug. Issues of gangs, issues of crime. We can never ignore these social ills. But the people that are going to come up with innovative solutions towards these social ills are the people that are affected by these issues on daily basis. If we equip them with the right skills and the right tools so that they can be able now to build future innovation. So that's the vision for me, and that's the future.
All right. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story with us. Your journey, it has been a very inspirational one indeed. And I hope that your future and your vision comes through. And good luck with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, that was Sihle Tshabalala, the founder of Quirky 30. Well, if you've missed out on that interview, don't worry, you will still be able to view it a little later on. And if you have any questions for Sihle or comments, you can leave them in the comment section, or you can send them to us on WhatsApp 061 766 0355. To stay with us, we will be right back.